Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or of the right of the people to peaceably assemble and petition their government for a redress of grievances. Well, Jim Jordan releasing what many are calling the Facebook files on Twitter. You think the founding fathers put the First Amendment, though, in there for speech that they agreed with? No! It's in there for speech that we don't agree with, to protect rigorous debate. Why? Because real people with real ideas discuss and debate the merits of the issues they believe. And this is in order to bring out the best possible outcome. Look, tyrants censor speech. People who are either knowingly wrong or too stupid to understand that they're wrong, those are the people who censor speech. You guys know I will have anyone on here. I've had some really strange guests anytime to debate any number of issues on nearly any topic, because the answer to speech I don't agree with is more speech. Expose their bad ideas with my good ideas. But that's not how this White House works. And Jim Jordan dropped an atom bomb on this yesterday. The newly released emails between the White House and Facebook, the platform is seen caving to the pressure from the Biden White House to restrict or take down or censor posts that went against the COVID narrative. For starters, at least. Biden's digital director, Rob Flaherty, reportedly wrote to Facebook, quote, "Since it's a global pandemic, can we give agencies to targeting parameters that they normally wouldn't be able to?" Basically saying, hey, Facebook, can the government have access to your user data so we don't, we don't have a warrant. No, these people didn't do anything wrong. We just want maximum control. That's what he's saying. Flaherty wrote in another email, "My dream is for Facebook to play ball. We have to explain to the president why there is misinformation on the internet. We don't want to be in a position where we take down bad news, but if your goal as a company is to make it more likely that people will get the vaccine, people don't see this in only one way." You're telling me that in this email that the president knew about this operation to take down speech? That's even worse. Joe Biden sitting there saying, "Oh, hey, you know what? We'll decide what information you get so you can make decisions the way we want you to make them, peasant." There's a word for this. I mean, beyond tyranny. It's called psyops. The military, the CIA, we do this to other countries to win wars or avoid them. You do not do this to Americans because you can't. That's the whole point of the First Amendment. You can't get around it by saying that the things they're saying are dangerous. And Joe Biden may think they're dangerous because they threaten his stance. But like with the vaccine or masking or lockdowns or whatever, they could not provide me with any real argument or data, especially long term, that would entice me to go along with these crazy theories they were coming up with. They had to censor me because free thinkers, we raised their hands and said, hey, why? No. And because I said so was not good enough for people like you, probably you at home too. The White House wasn't interested in debating anything here. And here's why. Biden's head of strategic communications and public engagement for the nation's response to the COVID-19 pandemic, Courtney Rowe, during an April 5th call, is worried you might get information that you don't want or that they don't want you to have. And if you're in middle America, she thinks you're stupid. She said, quote, "If someone in rural Arkansas sees something on Facebook, it's the truth. What we need help is pushing back on the myths." Whoa. That's why from a product perspective, the email went on. It said, that's why from a product perspective, it's so important to look at mechanisms. If we can't remove it, at least contain it, said another official. These White House people had zero data to support their narrative, and none. They had no data to counter the contrary, the things that you and I were saying, like, hey, I don't want to wear a mask because I don't need it. That was why they needed censorship. These people hate those that challenge them and think everyone else is dumb. Officials in the White House, like these folks I just mentioned, they went on. Rob, this is the White House official talking. If you were to charge the algorithm so people were more likely to see the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, any authoritative news source over Daily Wire, Tomi Lahren, polarizing people, you wouldn't have a mechanism to check the material impact on that, would you? No, Rob, White House official. You see, in Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, It allows Facebook to operate with no liability because it's a platform, meaning that people can say basically within reason, outside of threats, anything they want. Facebook has no authority to censor that stuff. That would make them a publication then. They could then be sued for hosting false things if other things got through the cracks. Now, I happen to think they should already be sued, but that's just me. That's also why I don't use Facebook in the first place. But you know the real irony here? With all this violation of the First Amendment stuff by Biden? Trump was arraigned yesterday. The former president of the United States is being charged with, among other things, conspiracy against rights. Let me say that again. Trump's being charged with conspiracy against rights. What does that mean? Well, let's hop over to the DOJ website where it says, quote, makes it unlawful for two or more persons to agree to injure, threaten, or intimidate a person in the United States in the free exercise or enjoyment of any right or privilege secured by the Constitution or laws of the United States or because of his or her having exercised such a right. When will Biden's White House be charged for all this stuff? There's not one person that you can show me that was deprived of a right because of Donald Trump, especially not on January 6th. But yet, here we have White House officials literally conspiring to take away our right to free speech and of the press. Republicans just put a bill that would allow us to actually sue the government for this kind of thing. I really hope it passes. I want these people thrown in jail. I'm so tired of this stuff. 2024 is a complete referendum to all this crap. People saying, oh, if you vote for Trump, then you just want revenge on these people. Yes, I do. I want them thrown in jail, and I want them prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. I want to use the bottomless resources of the federal government to prosecute every single person that was complicit in every single partisan witch hunt. You see how you like it, Democrats? Except we'll actually have a case here because you put it in your own words and emails. You call it revenge. I call it justice.